Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Charles Coachman, and this is Coachman on Real Estate. Coachman on Real Estate. And I am Charles Coachman. I'm a realtor in the South Bay in the Silicon Valley. You can reach me at 408-439-0766, or you can reach me by email at Coachman, O-N-R-E, that's Coachman on Real Estate at gmail.com. Coachman, O-N-R-E at gmail.com. And then I like to go ahead and give you our addresses that you can reach us. You can actually find us at Coachman on Real Estate on Facebook, or you can find us at charlescoachman.com or mysiliconvalleyhomes.com. Then, of course, you can find me on YouTube, and you can find me on Google. Just give us a quick Google and we'll be glad to give you a hand. And then I just like to remind people the buying and selling of real estate is a team business, and no team is complete without the coach. No team is complete without the coach. Let's pop those down, get that down, and we'll just scroll this along the bottom. Now, I like to start each one of my shows out the same way. Well, at least two of the three. We do an early morning broadcast, which is a Bible study. We do that at 6 a.m. Pacific, and you are welcome to join us there. You can find that at Charles Coachman on Facebook or Charles Coachman on YouTube. And then we also do, at 3 o'clock, we do a music show, and that's from 15 to 30, 35, 40 minutes. And you can, again, find us on Facebook at Charles Coachman, or Bay Area Let's Talk Music. And then, of course, you can find us on YouTube again. And we do those, and then we also do our real estate show. Now, next week, we're going to start moving back. Is it next week? The first full week in August, we are going to move back to our 9 a.m. on this program. So 9 a.m. starting next week again. We'll get that switch made. I like to be able to do it early in the morning, and then it can rebroadcast, and I may come on and do a later broadcast in the afternoons. But I like to get my show started by giving birthday shout outs. And I got two of them. Zach Allen. He is out of Great Britain. Zach, wishing you a very happy birthday out of Great Britain, but he's a huge Raiders fan. So Zach Allen, happy birthday to you. We met Zach through the Jeffrey Gittimer group. So Zach Allen, happy birthday to you. And then the next young lady has been a realtor, along with some other positions. But Victoria Smith, the young lady that I've met, is friends with some old friends of mine, and she's a terrific young lady. So Victoria Smith, happy birthday to you. Wishing you all of the best. And if it is your birthday out there, God bless you. Have a wonderful day. But especially Zach and Victoria. Take care. God bless. All right. So today, really what I wanted to do was talk about, and it's just going to be a short and brief show, but I wanted to talk about pricing in the Bay Area. And pricing, and I keep everything pretty much to the South Bay, but Santa Clara County. We are continuing to see home prices go up. We are basically at all-time highs. There may be some other places, or there may be some cities within Santa Clara County that their all-time prices came in either 2018 or 2019. But right now, we are still continuing to be all-time highs for the most part throughout the South Bay, throughout Santa Clara County. We are still suffering with a shortage of homes. So we like to remind sellers or homeowners, if you are looking to sell, you know what, there may not be a better time than right now to do that. We also let buyers know that if you are looking to buy right now, take advantage of these interest rates, which are near all-time lows. You're going to be in the high 2s to high 3s, of course, depending on your credit scores. And those are interest rates that I can hardly believe. My first home that we bought, we got it at 11.8375. not a fixed rate. It could still go up. Of course, that was during the 80s. Then we bought again in the late 80s, and we've been here for years. So we bought again in the late 80s. And at that point, it was down to like 7%, 7 to 8%. So we felt, yes, but now you can get it in the 2 to 3%, 2 to 3% interest rates. So think about that. If you were looking to buy, you were never going to see interest rates go to zero. This is about as close to zero as you're going to get. So take advantage of it if you are prepared to do that. And I would advise all buyers, when you're getting ready to go out there and look, before, possibly even before you contact your realtor, if you have a lender in mind, check them out. See what they can do for you as interest rates, and have them do, if they can do desktop underwriting for you, have them do that for you so you can find out exactly how much you can afford. You don't want to go out and be looking at a $1.5 million home and realize I can buy a home up to 1.2. That's what we're taking a look at now. And you do not want to be disappointed. You do not want to connect with a realtor and then have them showing you homes that you can't afford. So let's do the right thing first, and that is to meet with a lender or a mortgage broker and make sure that you know exactly what you can afford and what your payments are going to be, or at least have a very good idea. Now, one of the things that people have been talking about right now, oh, we're in a bubble, and when is it going to burst? And so I asked the question yesterday, was we were meeting with a lender, what are you hearing about foreclosures and notices of default? So here's the big difference between what happened in the 2006 to 2010 timeframe, when homes were being foreclosed on, when homes were getting notices of default and people were doing short sales. There was not enough equity in the market. There was not enough equity for homeowners so that they could sell their home without doing a short sale. In a lot of cases. Some people just wanted to get out of their homes and didn't want to take the chance of losing any more money. Well, what we found out in the South Bay was, and none of us had an idea, what we found in the South Bay was that the homes and home prices were going to be correcting a lot sooner than anyone anticipated. They thought, and the advice that we were getting, it was going to probably take up to a decade to correct. Well, it took about 4 to 5 years to correct. And now almost every place in San Jose, and I would venture to say every home in San Jose, is now well above what their price was in 2010. Some have doubled. That's right. They have doubled. So know that. Right now in San Jose, in the South Bay area, and throughout Santa Clara County, 1.5 million to 1.7 million is the median price of a home, of a single family home. In San Jose, it's around 1.5. There's other areas where it gets above 1.7. So we've got to take a look at that. And we want to make sure that as people out there looking to buy, that you are aware of it. And you need to find out exactly what you can afford. Now, we are seeing possibly a slowdown in condos and townhomes. The prices may be starting to flatten out, but they've still been going up a little bit. Single family homes, on the other hand, have continued to rise. And we want to make sure that people understand that. But looking at, and I'm going to read this article in its entirety from Lawrence Yun, I want to make sure that everyone understands it. He is the National Association of Realtors economist, chief economist, and Summer of the Speed Buyer. So I'm going to read this very quickly. It's about 5 paragraphs. The housing shortfall is driving up prices, but a crash is unlikely. Remember when it could take years to sell a home. MLSs were flooded with distressed properties. In Miami, it was up to 6 years, according to news accounts in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. Today, of course, it's the opposite story, and generally taking just a couple of weeks and sometimes days to find a buyer. Now, I'm going to tell you, right here in San Jose, right here in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood, right off of Mount Pleasant Road, I've got a neighbor that put their home on the market for right around 1.2. Within 2 days, they had an offer for 1.3. They accepted that offer and closed within 10 days. That is happening right now. They had a nice house on a busy street. Mount Pleasant Road is a busy street running towards the East Foothills and running up into the East Foothills. But it sold in, I think it was 3 days and closed in 10 to 12 days. And $100,000 over asking. From listing to today, of course, it's the opposite story. And generally, taking just a couple of weeks and sometimes days to find a buyer. From listing to contract, homes typically sold in 17 days in April, the fastest rate ever. And that this is taking a look, and I'll continue reading this, but this is taking a look at the national picture. The national picture. Here in San Jose, it has been taking less than 10 days for months. Less than 10 days to sell a home for months. So this, in most markets, home buyers can't risk leisurely weighing several options before committing to likely the most expensive purchase of their lives. Rushed decisions can easily lead to buyer misgivings about overspending for the home, its size, or having insufficient reserves for upkeep. And there will be a related story. Still, most buyers come to see they made the right decision in these competitive times. Seeing prices and hence their wealth rising helps. Could it all crash as happened in 2008 to 2010? Not likely. The current housing cycle is fundamentally different. We thankfully don't have risky subprime mortgages that overstretch buyers' budgets. The gatekeepers at bank, mortgage brokers, and government regulators demand that loan-to-value ratios, debt-to-income ratios, and income documentation meet guidelines before a mortgage is approved. To be sure, even with soundly written mortgages, we know some defaults can occur. That happens all the time. People lose their jobs. Something happens. A spouse dies, and a person can no longer meet their mortgage requirements. Now, this article just said there are not subprime loans as in before. Well, you can still get those loans. It's just how much more in interest rate are you willing to pay? It can still happen. We talked about this at least a month ago when I started hearing about people getting subprime loans, going in with zero down and being able to buy $1 million home or above and not having to check their paperwork. But it depends on how much they're willing to pay for their interest rates. So we want to make sure that we're aware of that. Okay. A second major difference is supply. Leading up to the housing bubble heyday, builders overbuilt. By my calculation, America had 2.1 million surplus housing units by 2006. Following the crash, the underproduction steadily chipped away at the surplus, such that inventory normalized by 2011. Continuing underproduction led to a housing shortage. By 2015, the shortfall was 2 million homes. So we're seeing in a 5-year period, we're off by 4 million homes. We had a production of, had an overflow of over 2 million. Now we're a shortfall of over 2 million. So we've got a problem there, and that is continuing to push us to this day. By 2015, the shortfall was 2 million homes. By the end of 2020, it totaled 4.8 million homes. The lack of inventory is why home prices are in no danger of falling sharply. Home building activity in 2021 will be slightly above historical norms, but it will take at least a few years to correct the massive shortage. In the meantime, we expect the national median home price to rise 9%. That's nationally. Here we are seeing more of over 10 to 12 to 15% rise in prices. So we got to take a look at that, and we want people to pay attention to that. In the meantime, and then I'm going to read this over again. In the meantime, we expect the national median home price to rise 9% this year and another 3% in 2022. Hyper-speed home buying should taper off by year's end as supply improves and affordability challenges persist. So that is the national look. So that's our big look at our national system. Now, when we take a look at California and we take a look at the South Bay, we are building a lot of condominiums, more apartments, but we do have projects that are coming online of tower condominiums in the South Bay. We can take a look and we can find those. But people now, after we have went through COVID, are looking for more single family homes. And the reality is they're not coming. There are going to be a few of those single family homes being built, but we are going to most likely see packed housing. We are going to be seeing condos being built. And not just 15 to 20. There are going to be some infills that are going to happen, but we are going to be seeing some massive condo buildings being built. Because the reality is that's what some people wanted for many years. And here's the plans, and they're already done. I think that will drive the prices down on condos because there are going to be a lot of places built, and they are very high priced. Condos in San Jose are about $800,000. That's a medium price condo, about $800,000. I think that we'll see that price drop back down into the sevens and maybe a little lower because the building that's going on is condos. So we are going to have some more of those. But single family homes, unless there's infills, we're not going to be seeing big projects of single family homes, especially one-story single family homes. Now, taking a look at the Bay Area, and I am taking a look at California, our California Association of Realtors put out a guide. And this is something that's been going on for years. For the last, and this is, so I am not going to preach against Gavin Newsom on this. I'm just going to say for the 15th consecutive year, 15 years, California fell short of its housing production targets. 15 straight years, we haven't went over that. That's a tough time. Now, we understand, hey, when we went through that housing crisis, there were sites where they took down homes that were in the process of being built. I remember seeing all the footage of homes in Los Angeles, in Riverside, and in those areas where they were taking down what was being built. So we do have an excuse because we did go through that crisis, but we weren't able to build them right back. We weren't able to bring them right back. And here's another thing that we need to take a look at from the California side as far as housing. California ranks 50th out of 50 states in terms of new houses being created per jobs created. So if we're gonna be producing new manufacturing jobs or new engineering work to be done, we have to have the housing. I would say that you have to have one house per every 2 people, but now it's one house per every 4+ people. And that's just not enough. We will never catch up with our housing. And why should California be 50th in any of this? There is no reason for it. Absolutely no reason for it. This is a mistake, and this is something that our cities and our counties and our state have to address. This is something that has to be addressed. San Francisco Bay Area, from 2010 to 2019, the number of new homes for every new job looked like this. San Francisco permitted one new home for every 4.4 jobs that were created. One home for 4.4 jobs created. In Southern California, one for every 3.7 jobs created. In the Central Valley, the North Central Valley, one home for every 2.2 jobs created. In the South Central Valley, one for every 3.2. We are doing a lousy job. We know where the jobs are coming. We got to figure out how to house people. And that's something, and that's one of the ways that we can drive prices down a bit. But for the near future, home prices are going to stay up. Interest rates are going to stay low, it looks like. But we're going to find out. We are going to find out what happens once all our federal government decides on the spending that they're going to do. Then we'll have the Fed taking a look at everything, and they'll decide how they're going to dole out money in the future. So we're in a catch-22. We cannot get enough housing built. We have got more and more jobs coming, but we just don't have the housing available. So we got to take a look at that. And we are 49th out of 50 in California's terms of having overcrowded housing units. Medium-priced homes throughout the U.S., 334,500. In California, 818,260. Now that's the whole state of California. In the Bay Area, you can bet you were at 1.5 or above for most of the Bay Area, and especially in the Silicon Valley. That's what you have to take a look at. And that is what's driving these home prices. And that's what's driving this home shortage. So the gist of all this is home prices are going to continue to rise a bit in the Bay Area. Rise a bit in the Bay Area. Interest rates should stay low for the remainder of the year. We had thought they were going to be at least 0.25% to 1% raise, and that would put it up to 3.5 to 3.75 and possibly 4, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So take advantage, buyers. If you are looking, take advantage of this now while we know the interest rates are low. Make a list of those things that you want in a house, those things that are must-haves, and take advantage of it. Take advantage of what's out there right now. Take advantage of these interest rates. Now, on Friday, we're going to continue this discussion, but we're going to take a look at what some of the people who have bought and are now having some buyer's regrets or buyer's remorse. So you got to take a look at that too. You want to make sure if you are looking to buy a home in the Bay Area that you are prepared to do that. Well, this is Charles Coachman. This is Coachman on Real Estate. Wishing you a wonderful Wednesday evening. I look forward to seeing you Friday night again at 5 o'clock, and we'll finish up our week. Have a wonderful evening. Look forward to seeing you again on Friday. Happy housing. Charles Coachman, Coachman on Real Estate. Good night.